So I made this real estate rollup banner for a client, and in this video I'm going to walk you guys through a step-by-step process on how I came about with this design. Hello everyone, my name is Blaben and welcome back to the channel. Over here we produce graphic design services and also offer a step-by-step breakdown of your favorite design. So if you find this interesting, why don't you go ahead and hit on the subscribe button over there and make sure to turn the bell icon to all so you don't miss out anytime I release new videos. In front of you are the resource files I'll be using for the design. These 3 images and this logo, and we have our text that we'll be using for the design. Okay, so quickly let's head on to Photoshop. You know, as we always do it, the first thing to do is to go to your file tab and click on file and click on new, and we have this new document window open for you. So quickly I'm going to be inserting my dimensions for the Rollup banner, and over here I'll be using centimeters as my unit of measurement, and with the width is going to be 80 centimeters and that of the height is going to be 200 centimeters. With the resolution, I'm going to maintain 200 resolution, as in 200 pixels per inch. I'm maintaining this because mind you, the higher your resolution, the higher your file size. So if you don't have enough disk cache, then you might end up crashing your system. So I'm going to maintain the 200 resolution. Some people might want to go with 150, but that's okay. So I'm going to rename this to, and since we are done with everything over here, I'm just going to go ahead and click on create. So we have our canvas over here, and the next thing we are going to do is to quickly go onto our resource menu and look for an image that we would want to use as our head image, that our main image. So I'm going to use this one. So let's click and drag this onto Photoshop. We have the transform guide over here, so make sure to hold on to the Alt key on your keyboard and click on the corner and drag this out this way. So I'm going to be placing him over here this way. With our image placed over here, we're going to select the brush tool and quickly jump over to the layers panel on the bottom right part and add a vector mask layer to the image layer. So I'm going to do that, and with my brush tool I'm going to increase the size of my brush tool. To do that, I can quickly come over to the option bar over here and drop this and drag this with the size, and drag this either to the left. Dragging it to the left to reduce it and dragging it to the right to increase it, but I don't prefer using this method. So we can use the open square bracket on our keyboard and close the closing square bracket on our keyboard to decrease and increase it respectively. So quickly I'm going to do that by using the close square bracket on my keyboard to increase the size. You can't see that, but that is what I'm doing. So I'm just going to just click and brush this portion like this. Now mind you, I have a video teaching you guys about how to perfectly use the layer mask, and that video can be found up over here, or check the video description for that. Now the next thing is to click on our move tool and quickly move back to our resource folder and bring in the logo for the design. So just as we did for the image, we're going to do the same thing for importing the logo as well. I will be holding on to the Alt key and dragging this logo and making it big a bit so we can have a view of it. Now looking at the background of the logo, we can see the text. So I'm going to be creating an ellipse shape. So coming to my tools panel, I'm going to be clicking on the ellipse shape this way, and make sure to hold my shift key whilst I hold and drag this way. Now I want a fill color to be white and no stroke, so I'm going to turn off the no stroke, and I'm going to be selecting the white color. Now I'm able to have access to this property panel because I have docked it here. If you can't have access to yours, then quickly head on to the Windows tab this way and search for property. So you realize we have this property over here, and the moment you click on it, automatically it comes or pops up amongst this for you. So that is what I did. So quickly, I'm going to be placing the logo on top of the ellipse shape that I just drew. Now we can't see the logo because in the layers panel over here, you realize that the shape layer is on top of the logo layer. That is why we can't see that. So I'm going to drag the logo layer on top of the ellipse, and let me zoom in by holding on the Alt key and dragging my the scroll wheel on my mouse forward. Now we can actually also press Ctrl and plus to zoom in, okay, on the using the keyboard. Now the next thing I'm going to be doing is to continue drawing my round shape using the ellipse tool once again. So I have this. The first one is going to be big a bit, and the same style. We're going to have a white background with no stroke. If it requires that we bring in a stroke, I'm going to bring in the stroke. Quickly, I'm going to be duplicating this guy as well by holding the Alt key, and let's click and drag this down. Now we can't see the other one because it has a white background, and the background of our design or our canvas is also white. So I'm going to be double clicking. When you come to the layers panel over here, you can see this icon, this vector icon over here. I'm going to double click in it, and I can have access to change the color. So I'm going to do that, so that I'm doing this so we can have a view of what we are doing. So with this second shape, I'm going to reduce the size to be a little bit smaller than the first shape. So Ctrl T, hold my Shift and Alt key on the keyboard, and I'm going to draw or put these guys over here this way. Great. So we're going to be clip masking the two images we have in our resource folder to that shapes that we just drew. So the first, or the bigger circle, will take this image. So let me push it here. So to have the clipping marks, or to be able to create that clipping marks, we place the image on top of its shape. There are two ways in which we can perform the clipping marks. The first step is to right click on this layer and select create clipping marks over here, and then we have our image clip marks onto the shape. Now the second option is to hold onto the Alt key on our keyboard and bring our cursor to this line over here, and you realize that the cursor turns from this hand finger to this arrow. Okay, so if I click here this way, then we have our image clip marked onto the shape. So I'm going to do that for the second shape as well. So this will require us to add a stroke to the shapes so we can have a realistic view of the image that we clip matched onto our ellipse tool. So I'm going to be selecting the bigger circle first. Go or come to my add layer style over here, and let's choose stroke. We are actually going to be adding an inner stroke, that's the inside stroke, and with my position I'm going to be doing something bigger. It's actually 54 now, but I'm going to increase it to 95, I guess. So if we are done, let's go ahead and click on OK. Now the amazing thing is I don't need to go back and do the same step. I'm just going to right click on the shape that I just added the layer style, and I'm going to copy the layer style. So copy layer style, and when I come back to the smaller shape, I'm going to right click over here and say paste layer style. So automatically we're going to have that same effect appearing on that shape for us. So I'm going to select all these shapes from the bigger shape, the image, and right to the smaller shape and its image. So I've selected the last shape. I'm going to hold on to the shape shift key on my keyboard and select the first shape. To select all, I'm going to Ctrl G to group them together. Now the next thing we're going to be doing here is to type in our services. So we have our text, and we're gonna be typing our services. So experts in property sales rental management. So I'm going to copy this first and Control C, and I'm going to be selecting my type 2, and I'm going to be pasting it here this way. So by clicking this, so we can go to our character property over here and increase the font size of our font, and I'll be selecting a font by name Luster Master. I don't know if it's a Greek word or a Latin word, but it's actually a cool name, Luster Master. And let's increase the size a bit. Hold my control key on the keyboard and let me drag it here. So quickly, I'm going to be doing Control V since I copied and paste the items I copied over here this way. Now I would prefer to create a shape and input the expert in the shape, right? So I'm going to be selecting my rounded rectangle tool, and I'm going to be drawing something this way like this. Then I need a fill color, so let's choose something like this. That is the color, and I'm going to increase the border radius of the shape. Okay, so this should work. I'm going to be placing this guy over here, and I'm going to duplicate this text. So to do that, I'm going to hold on to my Alt key and click and drag this image. So let me drag the shape layer beneath the text layers, and with this we're going to copy what we have over here as experts in, and we're going to paste it this way. So experts in, then we shift the property down. So I'm going to be pasting this guy. Now let me decrease the leading. So with this one, so let's see if we turn this to white, if it works. So I would prefer we using the color red, or better still, let's maintain the same color for that. So let me work on the border radius. I think our border radius is too much, or better still, I'm not going to add any border radius. Okay, so that is it for the experts in property sales, rental management and stuff. Now with this color, I think the contrast is very poor, so let's try and deepen the color a bit. So we can actually go with this. Let's see if it works. If it doesn't, let's go with the red. Still it doesn't work, so then we're gonna go with this guy over here this way. So experts in property sales, rental management and construction. So that is it. Now beneath here, I would want to place the social media icons over here. So with that one, I will do that later. It's gonna be a speed art, so I'm gonna do that later. And now the other thing that I'll be doing is to group my layers. So with this layer selected and all the text that I have in here selected, by holding my shift key and selecting it, I'm going to group them together and say main theme. Then quickly I'm going to be selecting my ellipse tool this way, and I'm going to be drawing a circle. So with my shift key held, I am drawing a circle. So I'm gonna be turning off the stroke, but I'm going to be selecting the fill color for the circle this way, and I'm going to be placing it this way over here. So let's press Ctrl T and try to destroy the proportion, so I think I'll go with this way. I'll go with it this way. So let's hit OK, and let me duplicate this shape but before, let me drag it to the bottom and let me duplicate it. Ctrl J to duplicate it, and I'm going to turn the bottom one to gold. So by coming to add layer style over here, I'm going to click on it and I'm going to say gradient overlay, and I'm going to choose something gold. So because I can't see, I'm going to maintain this way, and I'm going to press Ctrl T, and I will drag this guy over here this way. So let me push this guy this way, and I think I love the gold feel, the gold color that I'm seeing here. I think I like it, so I'm going to leave it as it is, and we can better still drag these two shapes up. Sorry, Ctrl Z to undo that. Let me hold these two shapes and let's drag them up. I think this is okay. So now the other thing we're going to be doing is to input our contact details over here, the location of the business and the tag, or let me say the motto of the business. So quickly, I'm going to be doing that, and I'll get back to you guys shortly. Alright guys, so thank you so much for sticking around till this time of the video. We are through with our tutorial. I believe you've learned something over here. If you did, please do well to give this video a thumbs up by liking the video, and do well to check my other videos as well, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you've not yet done that. Until I come your way next time, this is still Blaben Solutions, and see you in the next one. I'm out.